All right, how was your week, P?
Oh, really good. I just, normally I trade QQQ a lot, but I mainly just stayed on coin because it really, was really outpacing anything else I had going. Um, so I hit that several times and just sort of followed through on that. Basic materials were good. Silver kind of panned out. Yeah, so really happy overall. A lot of upside trades in a week that was down. But, uh, where the opportunities are. I can seek a lot of coin. Not interested in shorting. I'm just sort of you know, basic materials, gold and silver, particularly, were really nice. Really good week overall for me.
Yeah, I had it was up and down, but I kind of knew that going into the week. The Monday, Tuesday, or excuse me, Tuesday, Wednesday were better for me, and then Friday, Thursday, I'm never gonna be one to post in the room like this market's trash, don't trade. Um, but but the days where I'm not posting a lot, it's because it just doesn't really fit the way I like to trade. Um, but the hot list was real good last week. Anything that gets volume, you can and you know the levels you can kind of trade right now. It's really not that hard. But trying to trade things in a downtrend with no volume is dang near impossible. Um, so just trying to avoid that is kind of my main focus. So when that happens, I do get a little bit more into the social plays, um, or just repeat winners that I've had, and that kind of worked for me last week. I really lucked out with that SOBR twice this week. That just looking back, that was like about sixty
Oh
percent
yeah,
sixty
yeah, that
percent of
one.
my profit on the week. um, on two trades. You have like 20, 30 trades throughout the week, and two of them pretty much made my week. Um, a lot of lunch money early in the week, though. So, other than that, I'm kind of built for this kind of market, compression and then release off of that compression. I always say when in the market's like just going downhill, you can see real levels. You see what will really hold when stuff's sliding down a hill. Um, so I like this sideways and down market that we have currently. Um, just got to take profit. You just have to take profit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, part of the deal, like with my levels on something like coin, is it really tells me when to get out. I mean, it got to 67, and I didn't necessarily want to short it at 67. I did on with Bitcoin priced how it was. I'm like, this is just not really going to push beyond this. I mean, because even if I see flow to 70, if I have a level I know about, it's just not going to get there. So you just get out and just wait for a new setup. And I mean, and that was like a 7-8% move. So I mean, perfectly happy with that, especially on the option side.
Yeah, was it Wednesday that Bitcoin jumped? I think it was Wednesday. It was either
Yeah,
two. Yeah.
yeah.
So I was scaling in to Riot and Hut because they were like where I like to be at, and they just jumped. Um, so instantly just put a stop loss, in profit on those, and they hit that real quick. But if I would have just stayed in that trade or added to it, I would have either been even or down at this point. Um, so you kind of you just take what
Yeah.
again, you just take what it gives you. Right now, you really kind of do because on a lot of plays the volume isn't there. in my opinion. So hey,
Well, and you
go for it. Go
oh, go
go
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, so that kind of gets me to transition a little bit to the like the indices and SPY QQQ and all the macro stuff I see. Like, so everybody and their brother seems to have a market crash thesis going right now, where it's like, here's the chart compared to 1987
Yeah,
and COVID and 2008, whatever. And I mean, all that's well and good, but it is very easy to play puts and lose in this market, especially on SPY and QQQ, because what you saw happen multiple times this week was it runs up at open, and it went up, like QQQ went up 1.3% or something on Friday, and then it gave all that up. Well, if you're this amateur economist and you got this market crash thesis and you get a bunch of short expiration stuff, you're going to get shaken out, and
yeah,
you're going to lose on your trade, and then you're going to chase when it goes back down. So like you really you can be right and lose money. Like, yes, the market's been going down. Yes, like 6 of 8 days are red or whatever it is, but you still like you have to just be patient and go on levels. Unless if you want to load up on puts months out from now at a reasonable strike, and you want to just weather those little spikes and not really trust them, then you could do fine. But it's a big problem to try to short, especially like if it gaps down pre-market and you think you're going to short that at open. That's very, very risky, and it has not been working, even though the day ends red. So that's why we really stress these levels, and Pac's really good about guiding people through that, and I do a little bit as well. So so that's my take. Like, bears are right, but not necessarily profitable, and you just see it over and over.
yeah. I'm just looking at SPY and kind of I don't trade that much. I'm not on it too much, but I do pay attention. Um, the last week we talked about when it runs into the close or in pre-market, you just short it then. Like, you don't short it on the days it's going down. And looking at this chart, that would have paid last week. That really would have
Yeah.
paid
Oh
last
yeah.
week, especially off the 370 level, which we kind of talked about as the spot that was going to be the high end last week, which I think we nailed that as well. While we're here, what do you see that? Where do you see that going?
So I when you look at the flow this week, a lot of people are pointing to these big put orders that came in for November and all that. I think you just have to be aware with flow that there's going to be a lot of hedging going on, and so I think we potentially do see a little bit of relief. I think like for QQQ, sort of the one I follow the most, but with Spy had this really reliable level all week, like at like 370 or so, and kind of fell off that. And so I think we definitely could see a retest there. Um, a lot of it's going to have to do with whether or not Apple wants to bounce this week. So, I just don't assume anything with the Credit Suisse or whatever, that bank, like everybody's talking about Black Monday or whatever. But the
Please.
even when a lot of those investment banks have gone under, the market rallies hard in the immediate aftermath of that. And so people want to talk history. Lehman Brothers happened. SPY rallied 17% off of that before it went down further. So I just don't make any assumptions. I think we're at some oversold levels, and I think we're going to see a little bit of pushback on that to open the week. That's my impression. Futures come out, I might have a little bit of a different take on it.
Sure. So you see retest at 370 this week?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what you're
I
going
think
with.
so.
Okay. Okay. I'm I like your thesis of the Black Monday some selling on Monday, which does push this down a little bit. So I'm gonna go. I mean, just so we have some controversy on the show here, I'm gonna go with 360. I'll take like 366 will be the highest we get. So I'm gonna
All
go
right, yeah,
like a
no, that's definitely
three like 350, 366 kind of area. I don't think we break through 350. I think that's pretty huge. Um,
right. Yeah, and I think part of the context of the rally, like if if we get a gap down, with futures and pre-market, whatever, and then any kind of rally you get, it has there's only so much it's going to rally, right? So like I would revise my 370 down a bit if we see some significant selling
Monday.
on Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, for sure. And that's
Perfect.
kind of like how when I'm trading stocks, I have all these different tiers of lines, and even if I think like there's some bullish flow on this, I'll bump it down one tier, and it might rally from -3% to 1% instead of going from 0 to 4 or whatever. So
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, with you on that.
It's still the range is always tradable. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
100%.
yeah. People, I don't know. I don't understand what chop means. The way people use it, I really don't, because you could have it drop 3%, and people are talking about chop, and I think it's just because they wait for the move to happen, and they short it down there, or they try to catch a bounce down there, and it just consolidates for a while. So,
one of
so yeah,
one of your plays that are on we're going to talk about, I put chop in the note, so I'll show you my definition of
ah,
chop when we get there. But I think it's a little different than most people.
yeah, yeah,
We got a ton of topics, so let's just kind of run
yeah,
through. Um, this is kind of from last week, but I wrote it down like it's a top note. You want to talk a little bit about China? And I'm assuming it's because their government's pumping money into the market. That's the reason.
yes. So, and perfect example of this, if you call up Beek's chart,
The B E
this
K
is a
E.
yeah, BEKE. And what you get with Beek is this is kind of the double whammy of it's Chinese and it's real estate. So if you look at like a sector that has just been pummeled, um, you know, a hit, but you and all of my stuff.
It's definitely at the bottom down here. That's great. It's a
Yeah.
rainbow of a chart. It's only 2 years old too.
So what one of the things like I saw what England was doing, right? And my you know basically they bailed out their pensions, right? Like that's
Yeah,
kind of the
sure.
the reason that happened. Well, so you look at governments pumping money into stocks, and it's very likely that China's going to do this. But what you see with China is it's a much clearer process and a much clearer causal relationship between we're pumping money into our market and the stocks go up, because there isn't as much entanglement. It's all you know centralized pseudo communist controlled economy, right? So I think that when you see Baba below 80, when you see like um, Beak below, down here anywhere from like 14 to 18, I think you're going to see some really big breakouts, and a lot of times it does happen in the pre-market. So if you want to trade them, the you can catch moves intraday. Puts often work better intraday because you get some release off that big pre-market spike. But anyway, like if you want to trade them, it's it's shares swinging it or pre-market trading it, or it's calls with a little bit of time because it's hard to really time when that's going to happen. But I think we're kind of going to be back to the China Friday thing, in a pretty big way over the next month or so.
I like it. Yeah, I've been following a lot of those charts, and a few of them do stand out, and like they're accumulating, which I think I mentioned one in collab um, last week, which kind of started the oh, I better look at more of them. So definitely keep an eye on them. I got a couple we'll talk about um, definitely as we go on here. You also said crypto. I'm interested why that's a topic for you. I haven't looked at Bitcoin prices this weekend. Um, are we making a run or what's the deal?
So I don't I don't know if crypto's making a run. I'm kind of waiting on a breakdown on it, like
Right
Pac
now.
talked about that. Like that seems more likely. But what I noticed with it is that the stocks are able to run even while it's consolidating or even going down.
Yes.
And so the flow is very strong on stocks like Hut, and it's sort of like Coin. You kind of learn the character of option flow for different things. Coin gets these big pushes in both directions. It's high volume, and they pump it and then release it, and just kind of do that over and over again. Something like MSTR, lower volume, the picture and the flow is just kind of clear. But the point is like these have bullish flow while the picture in crypto is not really that great. So I think that there's going to be a good range on these, even without crypto doing much, as long as it stays within this 18 to 20 area. So I think that it's the crypto prices are something to always look at, but you don't need crypto to run for these to do well. Is with where they're currently positioned is my take right now.
Yeah, technically I like the charts. Um, especially if you don't get large moves in crypto. If it's more stable, I love the charts because then they will just move on their own. Um, the 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 stock's a cockroach basically, and Bitcoin price is the light. So when you turn the
Yes.
light on or off, the roaches do different things. If they just have the same kind of light the whole time, they can naturally move around and you can eat. But I dropped levels I think Tuesday on the ones I like, and boy did those pay on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So no, I totally see that as well. Um, I just don't know like if there's news coming on that side and that kind of like that's the thing you can wake up what would like you can have Wednesday but in the other direction that doesn't always go in your favor, right? Um,
Yeah. Exactly.
so from a
For sure.
from a swing angle, it's a little bit different territory, but a lot of them are on super supportive levels, unlike the coin. So, um, I wanted to talk. Oh yeah, yeah. Let's talk like we're fucking talking heads here. Let's do some talking head part of the thing. Um, the rumored collapse of a bank. Do you think it's CS or what?
Yeah. CS kind of stands out as the most likely to me. And I kind of read it as a I think it's a good thing if you're looking for an end to the bear market. I I tend to kind of agree with the analysts who say that like you kind of have to have one or two of these big banks fail, and fail is relative because they might get bailed out or whatever. But you just kind of need that 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 jolt of that peak fear into the market, and then things can turn around. And I talked about on the monthly on the indices, historically don't stay down here that long. So how much they recover from here, who knows? But yeah, so
Sure,
I
sure.
do think it's probably CS is the one that stands out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think where I'm a little different is, and it might just be a bias I have. I think only two things are turning this day market around, and that is the announcement of the rates are no longer going to be hiked, and
Right. Right.
like as soon as that's on the table, I think it'll run, or we have some kind of settlement in this Ukraine war, and we can stop paying our
Well,
weekly hush money.
yeah. Well, okay. So I think we're actually a little bit on the same page with that because what happens, what I think is likely to happen is that big banks start to fail, and that's like a domino that gets us to quantitative easing, not right away, but it puts it on the calendar for whenever they know it's going to be. It
Yeah.
might be next year sometime,
Oh, sure,
but yeah,
sure.
I think we'll do that. I don't think that the England thing was a sign that the U.S. is going to do quantitative easing, though. I didn't agree with the people who said that.
Oh, hell
It was,
no. We're not doing
yeah,
that. We're not. No
no,
way. We don't care about people that much.
no. I mean, they've already put themselves out there like that. That's not happening for a while, and if anything, like those guys have egos too, and they're not going to just panic flip like that. So
Well, our
yeah,
government's not even on the same page about the problem or whether we have one, right? Like
yeah,
they're kind
right.
of are pointing fingers. So coming up with a solution like that, I just don't think they
And
just kind of
if you look at the charts on like financial stress, right, which is sort of a social scientist subjective thing. Although I think they have numbers they can attach to it. But anyway, like Europe and England were much worse off this whole time
yes.
in that than like the U.S., where times got pretty good, and now are tightening a bit, but we're still well below them in that, and we're not going to have the energy issues they are either
Yeah. No,
this
then
winter.
kind of to wrap back around, like if we to if they collapsed and you talked about how it's rallied before, we probably get like an August again, right? That's what you get.
Yeah,
You get
yeah,
one of
exactly.
those kind of moves, which I think you'll do that on a lot of individual positive moves. Um, that's what we're looking for currently, right? As a little window, 3 or 4 days for it to be really good, and you get 20 or 30%
Yeah,
runs
yeah,
in
and
equities.
and in the option flow, when you look at the strikes, there's a path for that. Like they scale into positions that predict that will happen. Doesn't mean it will.
Yeah, yeah.
They're hedged and they do lots of stuff, but like they definitely see it as a possibility.
No, and I think that's where I'm going to say it the way I say it on Twitter. The college kids and the foreigners get it wrong. Is because
Yeah,
they see the option flow in large amounts just because it's big money taking a position. They see that as that's a golden move to that point. And it's not. They do that every month or every quarter. They set up, right? I mean, that's just what they
yeah,
do. And
yeah.
delineating that movement from these guys are loading because they know something is totally different. And I'm not even a flow reader. I'm just going off of, my cheap seats watching you. But that's the difference. Like you're going to get the same like Tesla and Apple flow on the first of the month or whatever it is, at the first week of the quarter every single time because big people do position themselves just in case. Um,
Yeah.
but the ones that like I see when stuff like I see happens, delineating that, hey, this ain't normal, somebody knows something, that's the difference between what you do and most of
Oh
these
yeah.
guys on Twitter
Yeah, that's
do.
why that's why the mid caps and small caps like are so good with the flow reads. It's less crowded, and there's a move there that's kind of mapped out to you without as many alternatives. So yeah, and that's why I get messages all the time. People are like, what the hell is this stock? Like what?
It doesn't
Like
matter.
I've never even heard of this, right? And that's just how I find it because I look for those. I look for those conditions. I don't want to
Exactly.
be in in the crowded room, and I trade Tesla all the time, but I don't really trade it that much on flow. Flow kind of defines the range, but it could hit either end of that range, and it's really like both are kind of just as likely on any given day. So yeah, that's knowing the character of what you're trading is so important.
Yeah, verse, oh, look, 5,000 or 20,000 contracts just got bought. We're going in.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what the whale alerts pretty much are, right? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. And I just I mean it's I'm like 3 days ahead of those whale alerts sometimes now. Like with and so like a lot of times it gets alerted the move already happened.
yeah,
And like that happened with Roku. It was like 60C, and I hit those for like I don't know 30-40% or something, and by the time they alerted it, it all just collapsed back way back down. So yeah, that happens a lot.
yeah. It's just I just notice it from how we interact in collabs.
Yeah.
Um, like trying to read, is this the regular wave or the is this the real wave or a new wave or a different wave?
Right.
Um,
Right.
perfect. Yeah, no, I'll save the rest for the big chat. We'll just hop into that.
Okay.